All right, guys, thank you for joining me tonight. Appreciate it as always. So, here we go with this bullshit again. All right. So, anyway, guys, we're going to keep this short because like I said, I got to go for a walk after this. So, this is probably going to be about 10 minutes or so. Anyway, thank you for joining me again. So, Mr. Landfill, Bush Pig, Dobie, Mike, Teresa, thank you for the 5x5. Raccoon Eyes, Prep to Adapt, William, Let's Go, Teddy, Maria, thank you for the 5x5. Joining me again. So, Colts, Marion, By the Book, Groundhog, Dan, Laura, thank you for the 5x5. Evolving Media, Dwayne, Crow, Moose, Patty, thank you for the 5x5. F you all, thank you for the 5x5. Let's see. And Vegan Mag, I do walk late because walking at this time of night, you got to dodge rats and crackheads. Very exciting. Glock, Master Blaster, Vegan, Deanna, thank you for the 5x5. Adam, Tristan, Rhonda, Patty C, thank you for the 5x5. And what's going on? Jeremy, thank you for the 5x5. So, walking amongst the crackheads. Yeah, I tell you, man, it's just crazy. I keep saying that. I mean, I did one live stream at night. I'm gonna do one during the day so you guys get like a better picture. I keep saying that. You guys got to see the shit that's out here. It's just incredible. But the night one's better because you get to see the rats too. Like it's Rat City out there, man. Eric, F you all, Want Rat, WTC, and Johnny, thank you for 5x5, and Keith from Arizona, thank you for 5x5. So yeah, man, it's quite exciting. Prep to Adapt, Maria Jackson, thank you for the 5x5 on Rumble. Appreciate it. Late night crackhead walks are fun. Yeah, man. Especially when they... And you know what the fun thing about it is? It's just watching the way they behave. Just watching the way they act. They're just all fucked up, man. They're just like, oh, man. And like the psych patient shit, it's out of control. Now, listen, I say this all the time, right? I say this shit all the time. The amount of psych patients that are out there now screaming and yelling in the streets, insanity. Stephanie, how often do subways flood? They flood pretty often now. Growing up, ever so often. Now, they flood all the time. Every rainstorm. A little bit of rain, flood. A spittle of rain, flooding. Now, they did adapt some... They did adapt a lot of the train stations by elevating the first step to get into the train station. So a lot of it now has a bump, if you will. There's a step up and then you step back down. It used to just be a flat step and then down the stairs. Now they bumped it up, which is weird because the rain cascading down the stairs is coming directly from the sky. So the fact that they did that was dumb. They did it in the projects too. So what they did was, this is the step into the projects, and then you step down into the stairway, and then down into the emergency staircase. They raised it up another foot, so now the water can't reach in there. So it's weird the way they did it, but they created like an area for the water to pool, which is stupid. The city is dumb. The city engineers are stupider, if that's a word. The engineers here in New York, they're just like, I'm an engineer. You're an idiot. Because the shit that they create here in New York City is out of control. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. So, the frosty beard? Really? Okay. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. She said, love the frosty bread. I'm like, what is that? Glazed donut? But yeah, guys, it's... the city's just dumb. I mean, the flooding here, the crackheads, the psych patients. I watched a guy today, because I'm staring at him. He's in the street. He's yelling. And I'm looking, and everybody's looking down the block, too. They're like, who's he yelling at? And he's just like, he's convinced. His conviction of yelling at somebody down the block, and there was nobody down the block. He's in the middle of the street carrying on, what the fuck, and this, that. I told you not to do that. And I'm like, who the fuck is he yelling at? I'm like, is there a fucking chick down the street? Yo, he's just yelling. He's just yelling. He's going at it. I'm like, man, this guy's fucked up. So, you know, and it's more, guys. It's way more than it was in growing up. Growing up, you know, you had a lot of psych patients, and then the introduction of psych medications, or rather, the introduction of letting psych patients go out of psych wards, putting them on the street, then giving them psych medication. Then you had and believe, you could look it up, but actually you can't look this up because you can't really find it. You had to be in the system to know about this, the welfare system. But there were people who were taking psych meds so that they can get more money out of the government, right? So they can get more welfare. And for a while, people were just saying that they had psychological issues, and then they were being given stipends for being psych, and they were getting like another $300 to $500, like whatever it was. It wasn't much, but they were getting it. And then they told people, oh, if you're on psych medications, we have to test you to make sure you're taking your meds. And what were people doing? They were taking the meds. Now, what happens when you are on psychological medications but you don't have any psych issues, you develop the very same psych issues that the psychological medication was trying to calm down. And so with that, a lot of people were having fucked up kids, retarded kids with behavioral issues on top of whatever they were fucking giving them. Depression went through the roof. Psychological issues went through the roof because people were taking these meds. And then people were trying to like, well, say you have depression or clinical depression, they'll give you medications for it. Well, they were giving them for that, and then people were having depression from the medication that was supposed to prevent it. Had the opposite effect, by the way. So a lot of this went on in the mid-90s, mid to late early 2000s. This was going on in the city. And then I haven't heard anything about it anymore. And the only reason why I knew about it is because my ex-wife, that piece of shit, she used to be on welfare. And when she had to go down to the office to make sure she still had 3 kids and a job and all this other bullshit, she would talk to some of the agents down there, and they would tell her, well, her caseworker would tell her what was going on. Her caseworker told her about the psych medication scam. Her caseworker told her about the Hasidic Jews and their bullshit scam and the heavy scamming that they do, and they never get caught for it. They had a whole get back to work campaign, and the campaign didn't take because the black community was like, well, what about them, the Hasids? And they're like, what about them? They got to go back to work too. And then that fucking campaign died. So now the city is completely okay with taking care of people who can't work. In fact, there have been a few women, I haven't seen guys yet, there were a few women and there are a couple of kids who do videos bragging about being on welfare and how the city's paying for them. And I'm gully, son. I'm good. I got my what you call it over here, my drink spot there. The government's giving me $2,000 a month. I'm good. $2,000 a month? And that's good? The mindset of the, and I hate to say this, black community in thinking that $2,000 is good. That's good money. Some of them are getting $4,000 or $5,000, but that's if they have extra kids. They think that's good money. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? This kid sat there who's like, I'm good, son. I got my Chinese food spot here, and he said my chopped cheese spot here. I'm like, what? I was like, that's called niggerism. That's what happens when you're raised around people with the same ideology who all think that this is good. They think they're making it. Instead of wanting to work and make more money, he's good with that. Keep in mind he's a kid and he's retarded, but still. All of Section 8 Patty. Yeah, Bucky, those meds for depression, they make matters worse. That's the crazy shit. They make matters worse, man. You know, so, I mean, and they make matters worse fast. Like, you know, obviously, if you're already thinking about throwing yourself out of a window and you take those meds, you're enhancing that. Limiting it to 2 years if you're an able body. And that should be so. But the problem is the Hasidic community, as long as they're doing it, New York City's not going to rock that boat. Right? And people expose them all the time. And anytime you expose them for doing what they do, you're anti-Semitic. Well, guess what? My name is fucking Hitler then. If I'm anti-Semitic for exposing the shit that they're doing, that's who I am then. Fuck them. Suicidal thoughts, unfortunately. Yeah, suicidal. Listen, my son was on antidepressants, right? So that absolutely added to what he did. But I've watched a lot of people, man, like just go down that road with the antidepressants. A lot of people, you know? I mean, don't get me wrong. I've seen people come clinically depressed where they just don't want to do anything. I've seen that, you know? Functional depression. Listen, I'd rather the functional depression than any other bullshit that's going on. But yeah. Most antidepressants. And listen, there's natural antidepressants out there. There's natural anxiety meds out there, but they do not want you to fucking look at that. You know, they don't want you to they don't want you to think about that. They want you to look at the meds because they're getting more and more people hooked on them. More and more people, guys. And here's the other problem, too. A lot of the psychological issues are self-fed. So people who sit home and they're sitting there going, you know what, man, today, you know, I feel depressed because, and then they're depressed about some bullshit. They're like, you know, I just didn't like the way the movie ended and it made me depressed. Wait, what? Avatar was that movie. People were depressed and became clinically depressed when the movie finished. Because that world was so beautiful to them that they thought that it was real and they wanted a world like that and they fucking suffer and they became depressed. People create their own depression and you create your own depression is created, and a lot of the times, not all the times, a lot of the times it's created by negative thinking. Negative thinking unfolds a world of depression. Negative thinking gets you there and then you become clinically depressed. Then you have people who are just chemically off or hormonally off. That affects it as well. Lack of vitamins, lack of sunlight, lack of sleep, eating like shit, all adds to being depressed or anxious. All right, so that's gay depression avatar. Yeah, it was. I read that article like 10, 15 years ago. Was it 10 years ago, was it? Or 15 years ago? I read the article. I was like, wait, what? Are they fucking kidding me? I had to read the article twice because I couldn't believe what I was reading. I was like, people became depressed because Avatar wasn't real. Oh my God, that's when it started. And that was before this whole woke shit. It became worse. And so now you got people going, I don't want my kid to be depressed or off themselves, so I'm gonna let them dress up like a woman. What? You could beat depression out of a kid. Tell you that much. You better fucking smile and tap dance, motherfucker. Something. But they let them dress up like a girl. Not a fucking what you call it, or become a high functioning manic depressive. There is that. There is that. Yes, your chemical makeup does change through trauma. That is true. But I feel a lot of these kids today are creating their own trauma and creating their own depression. And technology is definitely playing a big role into it. The social media is definitely playing a big role into it. There's a lot of factors. See, the problem with depression is not just one factor. There's multiple factors. You got to find out which one it is that's causing you to go down that road and tackle it. Right? Google, thank you for bringing that up. But this father who just drowned his 9-year-old daughter upstate New York, I think they were from Canada. They were vacationing in Lake George. And I'm reading the article and I'm like, why the fuck did he do that? Like, if you look at the guy, you look at his pedigree, you look at everything that he did leading up to that, you're like, why at that moment he decided he was going to do that? Everything, according to people who witnessed them, was okay. The mother talked to the father and the daughter, everything was fine, and then all of a sudden, the next hour or two later, he drowns his daughter? Again, I'm blaming the arm ticket for a lot of this shit, because that didn't make any sense. I might talk about it tomorrow morning on the Angry Truth channel. I just thought that was off. That was very weird. So, and listen, it's Google censorship. It's not about ghetto. It's not about white trash. Sane people uppity people, rich ghetto bums, white trash, Indian dot heads, the ching chong chings, they're all doing these things out of the blue. There's no real signs of it. They're just doing it. It's fucking weird. Dan, Zohran Mandani is not going to win. Apparently his numbers are dropping, which is a good thing, because people are they're catching wind of his bullshit. And a lot of his bullshit is bullshit. And a lot of his bullshit is going to be geared towards Muslims. And that's starting to leak out. So that's a good thing. So yeah, I don't think he's gonna take office. And there are too many people right now that are just all up his ass and after him. So that could be a good... Listen, I mean, anything can happen. If he wins, New York is fucked. He's going to be the first mayor to push me out of the city. I tell you that much. But, yeah, man, I'm sorry. Let's get back to what we were supposed to talk about. I could cover this in a couple minutes and be done with it. So, guys, Trump signed a bill, a controversial bill, and it's a big bill as for cryptocurrency. Now, this bill is under the name of the Genius Act. Nothing genius about it. This is a bill to now to start the cashless society in the United States. Now, that is not the outcome of that bill. That is the beginning of the bill. The bill doesn't mention anything about a cashless society, but it's a segue into cashless society, right? So there's two different things. When I talked about it in a video yesterday, people were like, that's not what Pinball said in his video. No, that's not what he said. I'm diving deeper. This is a segue into it. And this is a money grab for the president. Now, this is where a conflict of interest is huge, because this is a big conflict of interest. Imagine, guys, a president who bought into different companies that support stablecoin. Different companies like World Liberty Financial, which is a which is a crypto venture that Trump's family has 60% stake in. 60%. He also has a company called Trump Meme Coin. Sorry, I'm releasing this video tomorrow morning on the Angry Truth Channel. Excuse me. He also has something called Trump Meme Coin and Trump Media and Technology Group. Trump Media and Technology Group has also bought into cryptocurrency. Then he also bought into a coin called American Bitcoin. Now, American Bitcoin, if I'm not mistaken, and World Liberty Financial are developing stable coins. Stable coins are cryptocurrencies that have the values tied to a stable asset in the United States, like the U.S. dollar. The U.S. dollar is not a stable asset. I don't know why they said that, or let me know if I'm wrong. But last time I checked, the U.S. dollar is not a stable coin. The Genius Act makes it easier for banks and other entities to issue these coins, and it's expected to increase public trust in the assets and growing the industry overall. They want us to be on board with this cryptocurrency nonsense. And by signing a bill like that, now banks are going to start offering stablecoin, and in another year or two, probably 5 years, I would say, you're going to start having banks give incentives to use stable coins, whatever that stable coin might mean. Now, American Bitcoin, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be the first stable coin for the United States, and then whatever bullshit World Liberal Financial comes out with. The Trump meme coin, I don't know if they're working on that to be a stable coin, but this is what it is. This is where we're headed. Now, the downside to a cashless society, guys, is that, I failed to mention. DoorDash, Uber Eats, Uber, and Amazon are sharing their data with financial federal reserves, or will be sharing their data with financial reserves once the stablecoin is initiated. This is going to allow the government to track what you spend, what you eat, where you go. Airlines are probably going to do it next, soon down the line, when they start taking these stable coins as a form of currency. So, Uber, DoorDash, and Amazon, I feel, will be the first companies to take on stablecoin. Once airlines get involved, the prerequisites for joining stablecoin is you got to share, and this is me theorizing. To join this, you have to give your um, you have to give your sorry, reading something. You have to give your data or share your data with the stablecoin. Excuse me, sorry. And that is bad, guys, because once they start sharing your data, once they start finding out what you like and what you eat and all of this shit, your medical records become tied into it. Once your medical records become tied into it, now they can sit there and go, oh, wait a minute. Your blood pressure's up. You can't eat this. You can't order that. Matter of fact, we want to have you go to the gym now. You're no longer going to buy X, Y, and Z foods. And they're going to sit there and watch what you buy. Oh, you already bought enough, I don't know, mugs, for example. Bad example, but you bought enough of these mugs. You bought 16 of them. Why do you need 17? They're going to dive deep in it and forget about once they tie AI into this shit, which they will, because there was no regulations on AI in the big beautiful bill, by the way. People thought there was going to be AI regulation in it, and there was no mention of it. In fact, I heard someone mention that they took a lot of AI regulations out of the big beautiful bill. So now that allows AI to definitely dictate what you're going to eat, how you're going to eat it, when you're going to eat it, where you're going to go, what you're going to buy, and how many of those items you're going to buy. Why do you need 5 GoPros? Well, because I want it. Well, you can only buy 3. We know that you have 4 GoPros already. Why do you need a 5th one? Oh, because 2 of mine died. Well, you got to provide proof. Now, medical records are already in the digital world, right? And they're allowing hospitals, if I'm not mistaken, to transfer medical records between hospitals and doctors if need be. That is a segue, again, into the whole cashless society and the CBDC. This is all bad. And everybody is parading Trump around as being a genius. And everybody's like, yes, Trump knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. He's fucking us. That's what he's doing. But no one's seeing that because some Trumpsters are still so far up his ass, he's going to spit them out. CPAP tied to your license and mask? No shit. Seriously? The CPAP mask thing? That's crazy. I got to look that up. But this is what they want, guys. This is what total control looks like. And again, we might be on the back end of that. It might be like years down the line when that really starts coming to fruition. Right now, they're going to start implementing little things. But in 20 years, it's going to be fully integrated. And no matter what you do, you're going to be in the system. And you have to be in the system to obviously operate. Now, people like myself who are going to be retired in a couple of years, I could see them forcing my pension into this bullshit. Now I got to figure out a way how to make money. But the problem is, to make money, it's all going to be through technology. There is not going to be no more cash on hand. There's not going to be cash exchange. There's going to be none of that shit. Because they're going to do away with it probably within the next 5 to 10 years. They're going to phase it out. They're phasing out pennies and shit now. They're doing it a little bit at a time. A shock to the system, no dice. But a little bit at a time, people will be like, yeah, we really don't need a nickel. We don't use it. Then in 5 to 10 years from now, we really don't use dimes anymore either. And so on and so forth. Oh, dollars? They're just a waste of paper. Keep it up. Then we're going to be fucking completely electronic. CPAP machines are tied to your driver's license because you might fall asleep while driving. A CPAP machine is because you have bad snoring problems. It has nothing to do with falling asleep. And CPAPs are temporary machines. They are not made to be permanent, by the way. Listen, there was something about a CPAP machine that didn't sit right with me. I know guys who are on it at home, right? Guys use it at home. And they're like, yeah, I'm on a CPAP machine. I'm like, that doesn't seem right. So I listened to a doctor who talked about it, and he says, those are supposed to be temporary. Your doctor is supposed to figure out what to do next. They're not supposed to leave you on a CPAP machine long term. It's a short-term thing to be on. But for some reason, people are on it long-term. But yeah, a lot of people think that it's a long-term thing. It's not. Like, not at all. Yes, it does, Jason. Patty, yes. No, CPAPs are for snorers. The people who have snoring and they have heart issues or start developing heart issues because they have bad snoring, sleep apnea, thank you. That's what it's for. It is not because you're going to fall asleep. That is not even close to true. I don't know where people got that information from, but I've been, this whole CPAP shit, been studying for the last couple of years. Because once I found out I was supposed to be short-lived, and it's just it's a short bridge. It's a short solution, and they have to find out why you're snoring and fix your problem. And the number one problem to snoring is weight, is being too fat. But yeah, that's what a CPAP machine is for. But again, a lot of people seem to think that sleep apnea for your heart. Yeah, well, sleep apnea, which affects your heart, the longer you have sleep apnea, the longer you don't address it, it starts affecting your heart. So that's why they put people on it. But they don't tell people lose weight. I guarantee you. Yes, you stop breathing while you're sleeping. That's what the CPAP. But has nothing to do with driving. Has nothing to do with keeping you awake. They want to know that those two have nothing to do with each other. One has nothing to do with the other. So I don't know. CDL license required. But yeah, it's just an odd thing that people are on it. For me, it's genetic. My mom, who was very genetic. Yes, and Patty, yes, then your mother had another problem. Again, they have to identify the problem. Sleep apnea is not so much genetic as it's a lifestyle that's been led your entire life. You're probably doing the same thing your mother did. I don't know what your mother did. I don't know if your mother stayed up late. People who stay up late and don't sleep correctly have sleep apnea. You sleep in the wrong position. You gain too much weight. You're eating the wrong foods. There's a ton of reasons why I have sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is not genetics. Again, Patty, yes, I've done my research on it. I spoke to a doctor about this and a guy in the firehouse who's on it. It is not genetics. Has nothing to do with genetics. Heart issues, lung issues, genetics. Sleep apnea is not. It's just the way, like when people go, being fat is genetic. Being fat is not genetic. Being fat is the way you were raised. It was the food you ate through the generations that got you there. Not because your mother's fat, so I'm fat. You're fat because you guys eat fatty foods together and became fat together and did the same activities together. Nothing. Right? But yeah, listen. The whole research on sleep apnea, and again, Patty S, there's current studies coming out about CPAP machines and sleep apnea. Do me a favor and read up the current research on it. It is not what we thought. Can be infected. CPAP machines can get infected with mold. You have to do a deep cleaning with them every now and again. Some guys just throw out the water, but then other guys say that they have to do a deep cleaning or get new hose. You got to get new hose for it. CPAP is also GERD connected. I've heard that, Alan Crooks. I heard about GERD and CPAP, and again, that's because you're eating like shit. Most people, not all people with obstructive sleep apnea are overweight. Fat deposits around the airway can obstruct breathing. Judith, exactly. Medical conditions are associated with obesity, such as hypothyroidism and polycystic ovarian syndrome. Can cause obstructive sleep apnea. Again, there are solutions and cures for sleep apnea. Again, a sleep doctor went over this whole fucking thing. He broke down the whole sleep apnea thing. And I was like, no shit. I used to think the same thing too. I thought, oh, sleep apnea, you're on it for the rest of your life. Though it didn't sit well with me, there was something about it that was like, why? And a lot of these guys developed this. They weren't born this way. They became sleep apneic over the years. And as they got older, they started developing it. But when they were younger, they didn't have this issue. But when they got older, they did. And you know what happened when they got older? They got fat. Or heavier, excuse me. I don't want to say fat, they got heavier. But your lifestyle changes too. You're also less active. Or you become less active. People will sleep. There's a lot of reasons. Not one sole reason. I'm just picking on fat people right now. But it's not one sole reason. You would have thought I had sleep apnea. But I don't have sleep apnea. Thank God I don't. But I wasn't going to do the CPAP machine, I tell you that much. I was out on that. And again, once I heard that doctor say it, I was like, all right. And I talked to one of the guys in the firehouse, and he looked at me and goes, yeah, I know. I'm not supposed to be on this. He goes, but it's an easier solution. Then the what? Lose weight? Like, I don't understand that. He'd rather not lose weight. He'd rather be on a fucking a CPAP machine. I can't do it. I cannot do it. I cannot have a hose on my face dangling from the thing. And I know they have cordless CPAP machines now. They are coming out with those. So again, it's I don't even know how we got into this conversation, but yes, CPAP machines are not the way. They are temporary. You have to find out what your issue is and correct it. Again, just do the research. I heard the Inspire was really bad. What Inspire? Inspire is a machine? I don't know anything about it. You guys can do the sleep apnea talk in here. I have no clue what's what. All I know is that you need to get the tubes changed out every now and again. You have to use distilled water, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah. No rubber hoses. I guess. The conversation was about control, yes. And listen, guys, you're on a sleep apnea machine because you gain weight or you have some kind of ailment that you develop. This cashless society or CBDC thing is going to definitely monitor what you're doing, what you're spending, how much. Oh, you have a heart condition now because you used to eat Kentucky Fried Chicken 3 days a week. Well, now we're taking you off that diet and you're going to eat that. And if you try to walk into a Kentucky Fried Chicken and use your phone to think, it's going to tell you no. It's going to reject you right on the spot. You're going to get embarrassed. I'm telling you guys, that's the future. That is the direction we're headed in. We're headed into complete, total control over everything you do. And people are not going to like it. And some people are going to like it. Some people are going to be on board with it. Some people are like, yeah, we need to stop the fat fucks of society from eating like fat fucks. Yeah, well, that might mean you too. Your blood pressure might be too high one day. You're going to go to a fancy restaurant. You got to scan to get into that fancy restaurant to eat that food. As you scan to walk into that restaurant, they're like, oh, no, your blood pressure was too high for the day. You can't come in today. When your blood pressure drops, then you can come back. We'll give you a notification when that happens. So, it's definitely going to happen. We're definitely going to be. And smart shopping carts, Rhonda, that's coming. They're already starting it now. When you drop certain items in your shopping cart and it scans what you dropped in there, and then it tallies everything up at the end, and you just use your card and you keep going about your business. That's coming. You try to drop in some fucking, bonbons into your thing, and like, no, fuck face, take it out. You had fucking a heart episode 2 weeks ago. You can't eat this food. Pull it out of your cart. Yo, it's coming, man. And again, everything I'm saying right now sounds like some futuristic, bizarre, banana shit. Nope, it's coming. Trust me. I'm seeing the writing on the fucking walls, guys. And yes, Black Mirror episode, movies, they're all telling us what the future's bringing. And we're ignoring a lot of it. Anyway, guys, with that being said, I'm going to go off the air now. I will see a lot of you guys Thursday for the doubleheader. Again, I might be on tomorrow morning. I might not. But other than that, I will be on Thursday morning for the doubleheader. And I will see the rest of you guys Thursday and then next week. All right, guys, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. Appreciate the banter and the debate. And I'll see you guys later.